everyone. We are really blessed with the amazing Scott Collins, who we have here today, and from Grasses of Life. This is going to be the presenter and speaker for our event in 2 weeks' time from today, the power of detoxification and how it affects nutrition. So let's get straight into it. And Scott, would you just like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you are?
Me? Hi. Do you know what I like to do when I start an interview? I always hate that question. So it's great to be here. It's always great to be here. I was never going to do that line ever. My background has been a naturopath for the past 17 years. And it's been a progression of learning and ongoing learning. And, you know, I'm amazed by how much I don't know when I keep reading the new research and the latest stuff. So I'm actively working with clients every week. I'm actively researching every week, looking at more and more ways in which we can improve human health. And essentially my kind of wrap up of where we're at, it really comes back to a couple of fundamentals, which is A, we need to detoxify, B, we need to increase our nutrition, C, we need to get better sleep, and D, reduce stress where possible, and E, which is the fifth element, which is the gut. It all comes back to the gut no matter what we do. So that's what I've been doing for the last several years. And more and more so, I've been interested in toxins and heavy metals and environmentals that are affecting people's health. And it's kind of like the part of health that gets overlooked. Yeah.
Awesome. Like yeah, no, that's fantastic. And there's so much in that. So no, thank you for sharing. So we met, 3 years ago now, I think? Might have been 3 years ago.
It's a while now, yes.
Yeah, I was on my own journey of figuring out how do we get rid of heavy metals from the body. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I stumbled across you and Grasses of Life. And it's just been an incredible partnership ever since. So it's just so awesome to have you speak here for New Zealand and Australia, and just get everyone a bit more aware of how they can be the ultimate version of themselves and how we can not just put nutrients in, but get rid of toxins. So this is going to be so exciting.
I think it's so underrated, the value of looking at detoxification, and more so, it's not, I'm going to put it in my slides, but it's detoxification is an ongoing process. It never ever stops.
Well said.
I always think that, the only finish line to this health journey is in a pine box.
That's encouraging, isn't it?
Until then, never, ever, never, ever give up.
Yeah. All right. Never give up. That's the key. All right. Just keep going, because we can have optimal health and a great life and good health into our later years. It's just about what we do now.
Well, it's sort of like setting up the foundations. If you don't have great foundations, it kind of makes it harder. And the older you get, the harder it gets.
Right. Okay.
I work with a lot of clients that need to lose a lot of weight, and it can be harder on the body because all these toxins, even including weight. Well, I like to call the fat stores is the dump around the gut, around the middle, that dump. And I'm not having a go at people for that, but it does represent a storage of toxins, because the fat stores chemicals. The fat stores estrogens and endocrine disrupting chemicals. So, it is great to have an awareness of where this stuff's coming from and what it's doing to your physiology. And, we could get really doom and gloom about what's in our world right now. Honestly, it could really, make you cry. But what I feel is essential is that there are solutions. There are things that we can proactively do. There are things that we can put all these elements in our life that bring us back into harmony with our body. Just got to have a process and a program to follow. I mean, look, for example, for you, like I remember when we first started talking, we just had to put a few things in alignment for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a difference it made in my life. And even in my family's life, who I get to be for them and for myself ever since. It's been life-changing, really life-changing. So thank you, Scott.
Oh, well, I'd do it for anybody, and you're welcome. I had my own health journey where I was suffering And I actually ended, and I was in the medical system and I was going nowhere. But at no point did anyone say to me, "Hey, Scotty, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you doing for exercise?" Well, let's break it down for you, Ren. I don't know if I've told you this story. I don't know if we've actually talked about it. I call it the three Ps. If you want to ask me what my health was, pizza, pasta, and piss. That's pretty much
Wow.
that was pretty much the story. Now, just for those who don't know, I'm 52 years old now, but there was a time where I wasn't so flash, and I'm gonna just do a screen share in a second. I'm gonna share a picture of me. I don't know if I've shown you this either, and I don't often share this because it's not me anymore. It's an old aspect of me, and it's sort of yeah. I'm just trying to work out how to do it. Screen share. There it is. You ready for this? Drum roll. That's me at 32 years of age.
Oh, look at that.
I know.
Handsome.
And don't even comment on the shorts. That's a whole other that's a whole other conversation.
We won't let everybody know that you're born in New Zealand, no.
I was born in New Zealand, yes. And but you know that was a time in my life where I was medicating with my drug of choice, which was carbohydrate foods, which was essentially pizza, pasta, and piss. And I'm going to turn it off now. When I was seeing my doctor, he didn't say to me, "What are you eating?" Like I said, what they did say, take this drug for the rest of your life. And in my opinion, that drug has hampered my digestive system. It's hampered a few processes in my body. But if I had learned nutrition earlier on, if I had learned that I couldn't eat the amount of carbohydrate processed foods that I was eating, I didn't understand what was in the foods I was eating. Like, for example, canola oil. Let me ask you a question, Lauren. What is a canola?
What is a canola? Is it a seed?
It is a seed, but canola is essentially a made-up word.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually not the true name of the plant, but I'll talk more about that in my talk. But
Mm-hmm.
canola is in a lot of our foods. And the reason that we mentioned
Mm.
canola is because it can also be chemical processed. So when they press the seed oil to get the oil out of the seed, they also can use additional chemical extraction processes to further remove oil from the seeds. So you're getting this, and then they try and clean the oil and clean the seed up. So, but it's still a chemical process. The other aspect of, look, I'll start my mini prezzo.
Yeah, let everyone know what they're going to be expecting for the event.
So you basically, you know, it's toxins and detoxification and nutrition, but we've got another title for the event. But essentially, we're going to be talking about environmental toxicants and biological toxins. So you might notice the word at the top there, toxicant. You may not have heard of that word before. So a toxicant is essentially anything that's man-made, whereas a toxin is typically biological. So bacterial, mold, animal, plant, like poison ivy, or some people can't eat tomatoes. Some people have allergies to touching certain flowers. So there's different kinds of toxins represented, and they all affect us in different ways. And the man-made chemicals is probably the biggest one that we're actually facing in this world right now. And you know, that includes Roundup or glyphosate. You heard of glyphosate, which is the herbicide?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And essentially, that you know, these glyphosate chemicals, we're going to talk in depth about it during the event, because the biggest single way that you get toxins in your body is eating them. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems is, I mean, this is my opinion, is foods sprayed with herbicides, pesticides, because they contain heavy metals, they contain chemicals which essentially cause endocrine disruption. And this is just a snapshot of a slide that I've put together on glyphosate. You know, so we've got neurological disorders, liver damage, cellular death, oxidative stress, effects on the placenta, DNA damage, endocrine disruption, breast cancer. So if we stop to look at what's actually in our food chain, it's scary. And
Mm-hmm.
because I used the template, that's still showing up there. So little logo on the left there. Um, and what we're going to talk about during the talk is the three biggest detox myths, because detoxification is not something you do when you're sick. It's not something you do to lose weight. And it's not something you do when you're stressed or not thriving. Detoxification is essentially every single day. So every single choice that you make every single day is really what we're talking about. Detoxification is from putting on deodorant. Detoxification is from what you drink, what you eat, what the source of those foods are. And detoxification could even go as deep as what your home's painted in, the carpets on the floor, the new car that you're driving, the fabrics that we wear. Like a lot of fabrics are made with plastics. Now, you've got a little bubba, and let's just say some of the clothing that are worn by children have fire retardant chemicals in them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about that at the event, what these different aspects of chemical coming into our life, plus stuff that was banned 50 years ago is still affecting our health.
Wow.
Like every single one of us has this stuff in our body from 50 years ago.
Wow.
Now that's doom and gloom, right? Like I said, that's the heavy side of the reality.
Yeah.
But the part that I like the best is we're going to introduce solutions, because
Awesome.
I wouldn't want to just talk about doom and gloom without presenting things that people can do in their everyday life, from choices to foods they can choose to eat, like foods we can include in our diet that are going to give us daily detoxification. And it's simple. They're in everyday foods. You just have to make sure that you include them. The biggest problem that I find with most people that I work with professionally is they simply don't have enough of the right foods in their diet. They don't have enough dietary fiber. And I'm going to break down what that is, how much you need, including water, like tap water versus filtered water versus, buying a fancy whatever, doodad machine that cleans your water. So now now what we're going to do, so what you'll find is the talk is you'll have an awareness of what the toxins are, where they're coming in from our environment, where they're coming into our food chain, the solutions that we can start to put together. And now we've got the formation of a strategy. And all I do for people all day long is create a strategy with awareness.
Right.
That's kind of it. And, like this is the glyphosate one, and all the metals and the persistent organic pollutants in cigarettes. So this categories is some of the stuff that we deal with on a daily basis. Like, I don't know about you, Lauren, but I'm still trying to quit passive smoking.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Because I can't help who smokes around me. So I'm still
I
trying
was going to say, I do dodge people at the mall, but it can be very hard when you walk out and all of a sudden it's just in your face. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sensitive to cigarette smoke, particularly. Like I can smell it a mile away. And
yeah.
But cigarettes, like they contain a radioactive byproduct called polonium. They also contain cadmium, which is a heavy metal, and lead, which is a heavy metal. And I'm going to talk about the impacts of those on the human body. And for someone still smoking, they're not even about lung cancer, it's not even about lung health. It's about what these metals and chemicals are doing to the systemic nature of your well-being.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty much a snapshot of the presentation. And I will say to people, I am prone to talk, as they're aware of right now. And I think if we look at it from allow an hour and a half, a minimum of an hour and a half, I'm going to talk to 2 hours, I'd say.
Yes. No, that's incredible. I mean, just creating that awareness to start with, even if people walk away with that, is massive. And I really look forward to hearing all those solutions. And I'll make sure that, people can ask as many questions as they like. And we do a recording of these solutions. And if anybody wants to, take notes while you're on this webinar, make the most of it, because after working with you, Scott, for a few years, you are just a wealth of knowledge, and I definitely take notes every phone call we have with each other, and I walk away with, just like you said, just more awareness to add to my strategy. And again, it keeps changing, but there's always solutions, which is so encouraging.
I like to call myself a nerdropath.
So that fits you really well.
I know, I never used to wear these, so nerd, normal, nerd,
Smart,
smart.
intelligent.
I just have a desire for knowledge and solutions. That's kind of what drives me. It's like putting the
Yeah,
pieces together. It's kind of like getting the Lego blocks. Oh, that builds this.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
One thing I would want to say to everybody who's coming to the event, there are some prizes.
Woohoo!
So we're going to give away a detox pack for just by attending, and you get to draw it. It's not going to be up to me. You can draw it from New Zealand, bro.
Awesome, awesome.
Um, and I also want to do one more. We're going to have a Q&A, maybe questions, and I want to give away a half an hour free appointment with me, Zoom or personal visit.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's
And
so
and I have one more gift, which is we're going to give you a copy of my notes that we use for the show. So,
Woo! Wow.
so
That
everybody
is
who
so
turns up will get a copy of the presentation that I've put together, and yeah, that'll be a good foundation to get you started. But there's going to be a ton of knowledge. So we will. I think. Should we have a Q&A session at the end? Do you think that would be?
definitely, I think, because there'll be a lot of things that might, even words that people might kind of go over their heads. So that Q&A will just be perfect. We will have to keep it to a certain time frame, but if people do have the content, they can go back and review it as well, just to get more,
Yeah.
just to take it all in.
Well, look, if we don't have time to answer your questions, they can put it in the Facebook group. We can, in the event, the questions, and we can get back to it that way too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Awesome. Well,
Well, I'm
thank you
looking
so
forward
much,
to it.
Scott.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
me too. Me too. Learning something new every day with you. So I know people are going to walk away with a lot of value to help them with whatever their goals are. So thank you so much for your time today, Scott.
You're welcome. Ciao, ciao.
See ya.